What's cooking, Juventus fans? Welcome back to your old lady's favorite YouTube channel. Today, of course, I'm going to be covering all the latest rundown and things going on with Pogba, with Di Maria, especially with Di Maria, because there's a situation going on today where a meeting's supposed to be happening between Cherubini and the representatives of Di Maria in London during the Argentine and Italian match going on today, as well as some of the other options. Definitely important when it comes to the striker position, especially the backup striker. Stick with us, we'll fill you in. Ciao ragazzi, welcome back to the Bianconeri Zone. My name is Justin Sofro. Today it's June 1st, 2022. It's a Wednesday, and as we start the new month, we start with a lot of new things going on here at the channel, especially because we're going to have a lot of coverage here for you regarding the different things happening in the Mercado, and then some fun stuff behind it. But before we get to that, make sure you hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of cool stuff here on the channel. New shows, new ways to participate, especially if you are a member of the channel. Consider joining the member squad. I'm going to throw this up here real quick. I'm not going to spend as much time as I usually do trying to dive into what you get with the member squad. But you get a lot of cool stuff. You get loyalty badges, emojis, and Discord member chat with all the different ranks that you can do with that. But then you can also get some cool things with the wallpaper and, of course, the giveaway priority. We'll be doing giveaway here on the channel for some cool merchandise. I'm wearing a little bit of merchandise. We have some different options that are popping up there in our member store. Make sure you check that in the link down below. Now, let's dive into it, and let's get to the news that we have for you today. The very first news story we have is involving the different striker options Juventus has to pair up with Dusan Vlahovic in the forward position. Giovanni Albanese is reporting that Bologna are barricading themselves for Arnautovic. Juve have talked about it, but at the moment, the favorite is really Muriel, who is also convincing because he can play together with Vlahovic. Obviously, I think right now, I'll say this right now. Arnautovic does nothing for me. The idea, the prospect of bringing him into the club really does not excite me personally as a fan. The idea of Muriel, though, is a little bit more convincing to me. I think he's a player that can play almost any position there. He can play alongside Vlahovic or could also play in substitution for him. I think it's a really good option. I think the money you can get him for is definitely an affordable price range, as well as he is experienced doing what he does, and I think that would be a good player for Juventus to go after. The one issue with me is I just wonder how much these players that they're going after, does this throw a wrench in the plans for any of the other players? Obviously, one of the ones that I've been talking about pretty highly that I really like to see at the club is that of Raspadori. Does the idea of going after one of these players throw a wrench and say, no, Raspadori will be coming if you're getting these guys? I want to know the answer to that question before we move forward. Let's continue on, though, because another option being thrown out there by Giovanni Albanese as well. And I think maybe some of Juve Twitter may have got a hold of this, and they're not too happy with these reports by Albanese. Anyway, Berardi is not a new name for Allegri, so they're talking about Berardi at Sassuolo. Instead of going for Raspadori, they're going for Berardi? For Bumardi? Yeah? That's what we're doing? Anyway, he goes on to say he was on Allegri's list even a few years ago. In recent meetings, his name has been brought up once again. So, if you're a Juventus fan, this probably will not excite you very much, but potentially Berardi could be an idea Juventus are looking at. They've looked at him in the past, in the last recent years. Either there were situations where he didn't want to go there, or it was more likely that Sassuolo didn't want to sell him. Now he could potentially be sold, but I think there's other options out there that Juventus really should look at first. Like I said, Raspadori should be the option. Raspadori. Go get Raspadori. We don't need Berardi. We don't need him. Don't need him at the club. Let him go to Milan. Let him go wherever else he desires, if you will. Continuing on, though, in the other news that we have here regarding, we talked about Muriel. Now we got to talk about another Atalanta player right now, and a player that I guess will change the story. Right now, Mirko De Natale is reporting, saying that Demiral will probably actually be redeemed by Atalanta, conflicting with reports recently that have said they said thanks but no thanks. They're not going to buy him. He'll go back to Juve. Now it looks like maybe they will buy him because Premier League and La Liga clubs are now interested in purchasing Demiral for their center back position at their clubs. And that's the only way they're going to buy him, right? The only reason that they really want to buy him is so they can make money. Kind of like with Romero, where they made, whatever, $60 million, or however much they sold him for. They didn't make the full amount, but that's what they sold him for. And now they're going to try to do the same thing with Demiral. They don't really want any players. They don't really want to better their system. Obviously, because one, they can't really afford to do it because they're not in Champions League this year. Though they do have Champions League money sitting back there from the last, I think 3 years that they were in it. So that's a little bit of a, I'm surprised that they're not trying to do better because I think right now, especially if you're trying to, flip him and make a sale, what are you going to do? Are you going to actually try to compete? This isn't, this isn't an Atalanta channel. I don't care what they're trying to do. It just reads a little bit weird to me, and that's where I'll leave that at, personally. Let's move on. Talk about another player Juventus could look at keeping, maybe. We'll talk about it. It's Fagioli, of course, the youth player for Juventus. Giovanni Albanese also says that Nicola Fagioli will meet Juve in the next few days and will first of all discuss the renewal and then understand if he will stay at Juve or go back on loan to Cremonese. Cremonese are also willing to keep Luca Zanimacchia as well. Mainly, this is interesting to me, mainly because obviously we'll see in the coming weeks if he's going to be a part of the project that Juventus want to build forward to, especially given his recent statement saying, I either want Juventus to put me in the first team or I want you to sell me. Nothing in between there. Sell me or keep me. It's one or the other. So I find that interesting that he could go back on loan to Cremonese if that really is a serious option. If he does go to Cremonese, obviously this was a club that he helped bring to City A from City B, so good for that. But as well as I think maybe it would be an option to buy. We'll see. Maybe not. Maybe Juve will still keep him if they can. But it kind of rings a little bit odd to me, though, just because he kind of put that challenge on them that he wants to be sold, especially because I'd imagine he could go to a better club than Cremonese. He could probably go to, I'm not trying to say to Sassuolo or some amazing club now, but he could go to a club like Sassuolo potentially. A Lazio that are interested in him as well. So we'll see what happens there with Fagioli. We'll keep you updated every step of the way. Talking about another player, though, that Juventus are interested in bringing in. This is, of course, the winger that we're looking at, and that is let's say the Sportbild, and that one's always weird for me to read, are reporting to saying that Eintracht Frankfurt are expecting Juventus' first official offer for the likes of Kostic soon. The German club is asking for about 20 million euros. Again, we've covered this a lot here lately on the channel. Juventus are definitely interested in the player. He could be a good option for Juve to have. Again, I do want to know the parameters of what it means to bring him in. How does that work in with Di Maria? How does that work in with any other options that can be utilized in the attack for Juve? Obviously, I know that he's another good player that would work well. I believe he's a Serbian. If I'm wrong, correct me. But I think he would work well, obviously, with that of Dusan Vlahovic. So that's one of the things. And then also, when it says German clubs asking for 20 million euros, I think the number I had heard was closer to 15. So I think Juventus probably wouldn't be willing to pay the full 20. Maybe get him for 15, 10, something like that. And I think that's a bit more reasonable for that one. Now let's get to the news that you're really here for. The two main news topics. I moved it to the end because I want to get you all, you know what I'm saying? I'm just getting you all to wait and hear for me instead of just, peacing out after the first two news stories of each day. The very first one we'll get to is Di Maria, and Gazzetta dello Sport are reporting about him, just saying a meeting between Cherubini and Di Maria's agents will take place in the next few hours. El Fedeo wants to stay in Europe one more season to finish at Rosario Central and wants the same amount as he had at PSG, 7.5 million euros per season, plus bonuses. The Bianconeri can only get to the amount the Argentine is asking with more years on his contract. Optimism prevails, but the player must give in on the duration or the figures. So that's where the meeting that's going to happen, right? Maybe potentially, well, maybe not right now, because right now I'm sure Cherubini maybe is at the Juventus, the Argentina-Italy match that's going on there in England right now. While recording this video, Di Maria does have a goal, so I'm sure a lot of people will hype him up because he's got that goal now during this match. But when will we start to hear trickling out of what will happen from this? So first of all, will Juventus actually come to the table and say, okay, we'll be willing to pay you the full amount, but you can't take advantage of that decree because you're not willing to stay a year and a year, because we know that Di Maria wants out. He basically wants one season playing at Juventus, playing in the World Cup, and then he's done. And it's one thing that throws a couple of questions out there for me. What is the kind of competitive level that he's going to be playing at for the season for Juventus? Is he just going to wing it? Is he actually going to play out there and actually try to win a Scudetto for Juve? Because it's no slouch in the amount of money that Juventus are going to be willing to pay him. And if he's not putting it out there, Dybala, it's not worth it. It's going to be another one of those situations, and I worry about that if he's not willing to, especially to commit to 2 years, that doesn't bode well for me. It also makes me wonder what happens after the end of the World Cup. What happens after he's played in his World Cup? Either they win it or they don't, or whatever happens there. What happens? Is he just going to take off for the rest of the season? And I know a lot of people say, no, he won't do that. He's a competitor. I don't know. Prove to me that. Prove to me. I mean, he's had kind of off last year, so, and I know the situation's going on with PSG, and I don't hold that to him. But what tells me that he's actually going to compete and be worth a damn for Juventus in this upcoming season? Is this money that's going to be thrown away? Because he's ready to get into retirement, and he's ready to go back home. So I don't know. That's where I sit with it. I know it's a little bit hot takey, but I am interested to see what will happen and how this investment in this player for either a season or it's going to be a season. It doesn't look like he's going to come to the table for 2 seasons. It looks like it's only 1 season because I doubt he's going to move on that. We'll see if it happens, if anything changes, but that's where I sit with it right now. And I'll be honest, it worries me. All right, let's get into, of course, the other shining star for Juventus that we're trying to bring into the club, and that's Paul Pogba. Di Marzio comes in with his latest report saying that Juventus are waiting but remain confident regarding Pogba's definitive okay, especially on the contractual figures. Pogba has long since given his availability, as we had reported, and soon his entourage will meet the management to try to close the deal. So basically, Di Marzio coming in saying, I have no real news, as everybody has done. Everybody's out here just begging to get their stuff shared. They're tweeting out, Paul Pogba, he said yes to Juventus. Paul Pogba, he's probably coming to Juventus. Paul Pogba, he's doing this. Like, guys, at this point, we get it. You want the likes, you want the retweets, you want the shares, you want all that stuff. But it's not news. It's not news at all. Right now, we know Paul Pogba probably is coming to Juventus. It's about all but confirmed. He's not going to PSG, not staying in Manchester United. Doesn't leave a lot of options out there for him, especially when it comes to the amount of money he wants to be making. Man, I know that's part of where the deals work out, that Juventus need to figure out those figures and get that done. Also, there's been these weird rumors out there. I'm hoping not to buy into them, but there are those weird rumors that are floated out there that, of course, Paul Pogba wants to wait to really announce his next destination until the June 17th documentary drops that he has coming out. So 16 days from today, we're supposed to wait that long while also trying to procure these other things going on in the Mercado. It's June, right? It's not July. So it's June. I understand it's still before the Mercado happens, but at the same time, Juventus have important moves they need to be making, and they need to be like setting up the pieces, because this is a massive Mercado. This is not a small Mercado where Juventus are just looking at, like last season, where they just sat there for Locatelli and could literally just play tiddlywinks until the end of the season or the end of the time frame and just sign him for the deal they end up working out. There are a lot of pieces, a lot of moving pieces. Guys have to go in, guys have to come out, all those things that we need to see what we're going to have to work with. So Paul Pogba, I'm not trying to be that guy. I'm not trying to be the guy who's calling him a diva or anything like that. But come on. Just here we go. Let's get it done. Let's talk about it. We'll celebrate it. We will, of course, all watch your documentary when it comes out. We'll all watch it and we'll all celebrate. Oh yeah, Juventus at the end. Okay, great. But we have other pieces that are not much more important. Obviously, he's one of, if not the big splash piece for the Mercado. But there's a lot of other pieces that need to be worked out if Juventus want to be sincerely competitive and trying to win the Serie A next season. So that's why I sit with it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. That'll do it for this edition of the Daily News. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know all that stuff in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, please hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. Make sure you follow me at Justin Sofro on Twitter, and of course follow Bianconeri Zone at Bianconeri Zone, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I'll see you guys next time. Forza Juve, Forza Bianconeri.